Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going to be looking at some big headlines from India.
From January 24th, 2025, to be exact.
Yeah, get ready for market swings, political battles, even some cricket drama. It's going to be a ride.
It's amazing how one day's news can show so much about India, the economy, the politics, even its history.
So let's jump right into it, huh? The Indian stock market started off strong,
Uh-huh.
especially those energy and finance sectors. Seems like a good sign.
Yeah, definitely.
But then we see Paytm, that big digital payments company, taking a hit. What's going on there?
Well, it's not just about Paytm itself, you see. It shows what's happening in the whole Indian economy, like
Yeah.
the energy sector doing well.
Yeah.
Could be because of Trump, you know?
Trump.
Yeah, when he was president pushing for lower interest rates and cheaper oil, that had a global impact.
Right.
But then you have Paytm, and maybe that means the fintech world is hitting some roadblocks.
So is it better to stick with the old school banks then? Like IDBI, they're making profits.
It's not that black and white. Traditional banks, yeah, they're steady, but fintech has huge potential still. It's like this tug of war between the old ways and the new in India's financial future, worth paying attention to.
Fascinating. And speaking of clashes, let's move to politics. Delhi's getting ready for assembly elections.
Yep.
And the Aam Aadmi Party, AAP, they're expected to win.
So they say.
But of course, the BJP is campaigning hard, as always.
Oh, absolutely. High stakes, not just in Delhi, but for all of India's political scene. And that failed team-up between AAP and Congress, that makes things even more interesting.
Makes it harder for the opposition, that's for sure. What issues do you think will matter most to voters?
The usual suspects. Education, healthcare, infrastructure, always important. But this time, it's also about the story each party tells. BJP, they're pushing the national agenda, while AAP is all about what they've done in Delhi. We'll see which story wins.
It's like a political thriller unfolding right in front of us. Okay, let's take a break from the serious stuff. Sports time. Indian Super League. ISL. We've got East Bengal versus Kerala Blasters.
Oh yeah, ISL, think of it like India's version of the Premier League, the big football action. This match is crucial for both teams, fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
But even bigger drama off the field, in the
Ah.
cricket world.
Yes, the Gambhir-Ganguly feud. I've been hearing about it. So Gambhir's the coach now, right?
Right.
And he's clashing with Ganguly, former BCCI president.
It's a rivalry that goes way back, even to when they were both playing. Both legends, strong personalities, always some tension.
Lay it on me. What happened this time?
Well, word is Gambhir said some pretty hard stuff about Ganguly, about how Ganguly kept him out of certain matches back in the day.
Oof, that's going to leave a mark.
Not exactly subtle, especially coming from the national coach. So, yeah, Ganguly and his fans, not happy.
So it's more than just them two. It's about power dynamics in Indian cricket as a whole.
Exactly. Old guard versus the new generation, how that affects the team, even the future of the sport. It's a big deal.
Wow. From cricket drama to the latest tech, Samsung just launched their Galaxy S25 phones, and they're all about privacy this time.
That's right. They're really pushing those new privacy features. Like, they want to be the good guys in tech. But is it all talk, or are they really serious about this data privacy thing?
Good question. Are they just following the trend or actually caring about our data?
We got to see if those privacy features really work, not just marketing hype. If the S25 is a hit, maybe other tech companies will take privacy more seriously too.
Makes you think, are we finally taking back control of our digital lives?
Maybe. It's a battle for our trust, that's for sure. And speaking of power dynamics, but on a historical level now, there's this Oxfam report
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
about the UK's colonial past and what it did to India. There's the richest 10% in the UK. They held half of India's wealth during colonial times.
Wow, that's a heavy thought.
It's not just history. It makes you think about wealth and equality today. Like, are the ghosts of the past still haunting us?
It's a powerful reminder of how the past shapes the present. So what lessons can we learn from this report, and how does it connect to all the discussions about economic justice we're having today?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting. This report isn't just numbers. It's saying that maybe the way wealth is distributed around the world today, it's still affected by that historical exploitation. It makes you think about the true cost of colonialism, something that's still being felt even now.
It's kind of wild how all these things we're talking about, the markets, that cricket feud, even history, they all kind of point to power, you
Yeah.
know? Like, who has it? Who wants it?
Yeah, for sure. It's not just in politics either. Power struggles are everywhere, shaping the world in ways we don't always notice. But, hey, want to get back to that cricket drama. Gambir and Ganguly going at it like that, pretty intense.
Total soap opera, right? And everyone's talking about it.
We got to understand the history there. These two, they're legends, both super competitive, going back to their playing days.
Okay, for those of us who aren't cricket experts, break it down. Who are these guys, and why is their fight such a big deal?
All right, so Ganguly, they called him Dada. He was one of India's best captains ever, totally changed the team in the early 2000s. Then you have Gambir, key player in that 2011 World Cup win. Both of them never afraid to speak their minds, which, well, caused friction even back then.
So, two big personalities used to being in charge, clashing egos, no surprise there's fireworks. But what set this whole thing off now?
Gambir basically said Ganguly kept him out of matches on purpose back in the day. That quote we mentioned, man, that was harsh.
Yeah, not exactly the best way to make friends. And he's the national coach now. That's got to sting even more.
Definitely not helping things. Ganguly and anyone who supports him, they're furious, as you can imagine.
So this is bigger than just two guys, right? It's like the whole power structure of Indian cricket is involved.
100%. The old guard versus the new kids, affecting team morale, maybe even how they play on the field. This could force the BCCI to step in, try to calm things down before it gets out of control.
Could have huge consequences for Indian cricket. Speaking of consequences, let's get back to those Samsung phones. All that privacy stuff they're promoting, is it for real?
They're going all out, that's for sure. Super strong encryption, way better biometric security than just fingerprints, even a built-in VPN.
Yeah.
Like they're building a fortress around your data.
So is this the new normal for phones then? Are other companies going to have to do the same or get left behind?
Oh yeah, privacy is hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
Companies are realizing people care about this stuff. They want control over their information, so companies got to adapt.
People power, right? Taking back control of their digital lives.
We'll see if these features actually work, though. Maybe it's all just marketing hype. But if the S25 sells like crazy, maybe, just maybe, the whole tech world will take privacy seriously.
Fingers crossed, right? All right, let's rewind a bit back to those market openings. What was driving all that positive energy in India?
Couple of things. Energy sector was booming. Oil prices were up. Financial institutions doing well, too, showing a stable and growing economy.
That's the good stuff. But we also talked about Paytm struggling. What's that telling us about the bigger picture?
Well, it shows that even when the economy is doing great, not every company wins. Growth doesn't always reach everyone equally. That's the lesson there.
Sobering thought. Okay, back to politics. Those Delhi elections are heating up. AAP might be the favorite, but the BJP, they know how to campaign, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, they're going all out. Nationalism promises to fix local issues like pollution and infrastructure. They're appealing to hearts and minds, trying everything.
Will it be enough to beat AAP? They've done a pretty good job governing Delhi, haven't they?
That's the big question. AAP delivers, but the BJP has that national appeal and a lot of money to throw around. It's going to be close, that's for sure.
Speaking of making history, did you hear about that crazy archaeological find? The one that's rewriting everything we thought we knew about ancient India?
Oh, you mean that lost city from like thousands of years ago? Yeah. Mind-blowing stuff. The way it's laid out, the artifacts, even their writing, it's challenging what we thought about how advanced ancient India was.
It's like a glimpse into a lost world and maybe even some lessons for today.
Totally. Shows us that history is always changing as we find new evidence. Who knows what else is out there, just waiting to be discovered.
Makes you feel kind of small, huh? But let's focus back on the present for a sec. What's happening in Bollywood these days?
There's this new film causing quite a stir. It's tackling some tough social issues, really pushing the boundaries, making people think.
That's what I love about film. It can start those important conversations.
And it shows how Bollywood's changing, becoming a platform for social change, not just entertainment.
So even with all the politics, the markets, the sports drama, India's cultural scene is alive and kicking, pushing boundaries.
That's India for you. Always changing, a mix of old and new. That's what makes it so fascinating. As we wrap up this part of our deep dive, let's take a moment to appreciate all these stories. It's a glimpse into a country that never stands still.
It's amazing, right? Ancient cities, cricket feuds, new phones, all these stories, and they all tell us something about India today.
And it shows how connected everything is. We miss that sometimes, Caught up in our own lives, all this information coming at us.
Yeah, we need to zoom out sometimes. See the bigger picture, the connections between things. This deep dive has definitely made me think about that.
That's what it's all about, right? Being curious, asking questions, connecting the dots. We looked at economics, politics, history, culture, And in each one, digging deeper, that's what helps us understand.
You've really given our listeners a way to think about not just India, but the whole world, how to understand all the complicated stuff.
Exactly. And I hope they keep exploring, keep asking those questions. That's how we learn.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So, as we wrap up our deep dive into India, what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all this?
Remember those things we talked about that seem separate, like the stock market doing its thing, the cricket controversy, that report about the past?
Hmm.
They all tie into bigger trends. It makes you wonder, what are we missing? What connections are right in front of us, but we don't see them?
That's a powerful thought to end on. There's always more to learn, more to explore. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into India. Until next time, keep those minds curious, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.